Crazy question. Who are you willing to live for? Not die for, live for. And I ask that kind of in a unique way because I think there's an element in many of us that's heroic. We love the heroic. I remember after 9/11 listening to a recording of a pilot who got on, and he got on kind of as pilots often do, basically saying, the weather is this, we're going to be flying at 30,000 feet, yada, yada. Anyway, but he got on, and the first thing he said is, "Good morning, I'd like to welcome you on our flight. Just want you to know that I'm carrying with me today my sidearm Betty. She is a Glock 19 with 15 rounds loaded in the chamber." And of course, everybody in the cabin were just cheering. They were, excited to hear that this pilot is not afraid of anybody and he wants to know, I'm armed and ready. And I think there's that element of heroic. I've thought many times, man, if something were to threaten my daughters or my bride in a heartbeat, I'd lay down my life. And I mean, there's nothing remotely hesitant in me to say, man, I wouldn't do that. And I think for many of us, we're that way. But the saying goes, it's one thing to say what we're willing to die for, but what are you willing to live for? Paul lays it out in Romans chapter 14, verses 7 through 9. He says this, "For none of us lives for himself alone, and none of us dies for himself alone. If we live to the Lord. If we die to the Lord. So whether we live or die, we belong to the Lord." And he goes on, verse 9, "For this very reason Christ died and returned to life, so that he might be Lord of both the dead and the living." I just want to encourage you today, man. There's so many motivations for why you and I get up and go. I think for some of us, it's just to pay the bills. It's just get to Friday. We're just trying to press through. But I'm going to encourage you today, the bigger life that God provides for us is about living for him. Pushing aside all the other stuff, all the other motivations, and going, you know what? If I'm going to live, if I'm going to die, it's going to be for God's glory. And when we do that, I believe God gives us a fulfillment that is so much greater than anything we're ever going to find on this side of eternity on this earth. So honored you spend time with me. Hope you have an amazing day. Let's live reckless for the one who loves us most, Jesus. Bye, y'all.